Welcome to the Football Word. I'm Burkhead. This is Zach Cox. We are back at Gillette Stadium because we just listened to Patriots Director of Player Personnel Nick Caserio speak, and then we talked to Rex Burkhead right over there. Both of them had some interesting things to say. I'd say that Caserio was a little bit more interesting than Burkhead, at least on initial contact with the new Patriots running back. So let's get into Caserio first.
Let's do it.
What was your number one takeaway from what he was speaking about this morning?
Well, I think kind of the number one thing that we all really took away from it was the fact that he says the Patriots only have 50 to 75 draftable players in this draft. They'll go into next week's draft with a list of 50 to 75 players that they'll say, we would feel comfortable drafting this guy, which is kind of interesting because just recently Ozzie Newsome from the Baltimore Ravens said they have a list of 175 draftable players, which obviously is a very large discrepancy. And Caserio did say that it was probably one of the Patriots list is probably one of the smaller lists in the league. I guess it just goes to show how the Patriots are maybe more selective with their prospects than other players, or than other teams rather. But I don't know. What was your reaction to this?
Yeah, that was number one as well, and it's kind of interesting because Newsome actually kind of comes from a Patriots-esque background
with the
Browns, from working with Bill Belichick. So it's definitely notable that they have a much larger supply of draftable players, much larger pool. I've kind of noticed this to some degree in my pre-draft research, especially when it comes to running backs. The Patriots like players who have a certain three-cone number. They like players who don't fumble. They like players at a certain size with certain attributes. So it really whittles down that list to really
they're a little picky.
One or two players, and they probably, quite frankly, do that at most positions. It's just with things that we can't highlight as well as some of the more notable players, or the position players or skill position players like running back or wide receivers. So I mean, it's incredible that there's only 50 to 75 players in this entire draft class that the Patriots would be willing to draft, and that means that really a lot of the players who were taken the first round probably are not on the Patriots draft board. Only about a quarter of the players who were drafted overall in this class will be on the Patriots draft board, so it's pretty unbelievable. I think that kind of goes to show why the Patriots sometimes take those guys like Tavon Wilson or Deron Harmon or Jordan Richards, who aren't on most, internet draft boards in the second or third round.
You won't see them on the mock drafts.
Exactly, but the Patriots have such a limited list of players to select from that if a guy meets this standard, this standard, this standard, then he'll probably be taken by the Patriots at some point in the draft.
Yeah, and kind of staying along the draft conversation, we talked to Nick Caserio about how right now the Patriots don't pick until pick number 72. Yeah. Obviously, he wouldn't confirm whether they plan to move up, whether they plan to stay. He says really nobody knows where they're going to draft. No team knows where they're going to draft until draft night, until they actually draft. Yep. But it was interesting, I thought, when he was talking about how they're still working out players, they're still having players in for a visit that they probably will not be able to pick. That almost certainly will not be there at number 72. I mean, on one hand, that's so if something happens and a player does slide, they can pick them. Yep. But also it's just for planning for the future. He said that Coney Ealy, who the Patriots recently traded for, he visited and worked out for the Patriots back in 2014. Then a couple years comes around, they have that wealth of knowledge already. They've already met with the guy. They already know what he can do beyond just what you see on the field. And I mean, I guess this wasn't exactly a revelation, but it is kind of cool to hear an actual decision maker talk about these kind of things.
Definitely, and it is interesting. It's notable for one particular reason for me, and that's because when you see that the Patriots are working out Zach Cunningham, for instance, or maybe Derek Barnett, these guys who are expected to go in the first or second round, I think that leads some people to believe that, okay, well, the Patriots are planning on trading Malcolm Butler. They are planning on trading Jimmy Garoppolo. That means that they want to pick in the first or second round. Slow the brakes on that. That's not what that means. That means, like you said, for the future, if those players become available, either through free agency or in a trade, then they can flip back through their notes, say, okay, well, this guy met this standard, and this standard. We met with him. We were impressed with him. He seemed like a smart enough guy. We had a draftable grade on him for all of these different reasons, so we can bring him in at this point. And he said that, they met with Stephon Gilmore. They met with a few other guys, so that they brought in this offseason Brandon Cooks. He said that they went to Corvallis, Oregon to meet with him. So, I mean, I think that is notable. And like you said, it might be a little bit obvious to some extent that they're going to meet with all these players, especially when you see the reports out there that they are meeting with all these guys and they're at all these pro days. But it certainly it helps explain why. And it might not be the kind of thing that Bill Belichick would reveal to us. And it kind of goes to show that there is a lot of value in talking to a different guy up top of the Patriots organization as far as, these decision makers go.
Absolutely, yeah. And this is one of the few times, this might be the only time all year we'll be able to hear from Nick Caserio. And he does kind of talk out of the Bill Belichick playbook. A lot of these Patriots higher-ups, they have a very distinct way of speaking in that they don't really say much of anything. Yeah. But yeah, it was pretty cool. And obviously, kind of going back to what you just said, we didn't really get much clarity in any way on Malcolm Butler or Jimmy Garoppolo, who are really the two bigger question marks. And now they don't even really seem like that big of question marks. It really kind of seems like we know what the Patriots are going to do with both of them. But
yeah, and we'll still kind of see. I think that Butler is still the bigger question mark at this point. Absolutely. I'm still not sure if he's going to be moved yet. But the other question kind of looming on the Patriots offseason is Brandon Cooks, whether the Patriots will pick up his fifth-year option or not. Nick Caserio did not shed any light on that, but I think we 100% believe that's going to happen. It's just really a matter of timing at this point.
I don't believe they would have swung this trade if they weren't planning on doing that.
Yeah, absolutely not. Speaking of Patriots offensive playmakers or skill position players, we did talk to Rex Burkhead today. As we said, not as much in that as with Caserio.
Straight out of the new Patriot playbook. I'm just here trying to do what I can to help the team. Wherever the coaches need me, that's where I'm going to go. That kind of deal.
It is actually interesting when a new player comes in here, because it can go a matter of one or two ways. It can either go the Burkhead route, where, like you said, just happy to be here, just kind of gives the company answer on a lot of things. Then you get guys like an Eric Rowe, for instance, who probably says a little bit too much, might get disciplined along the way for saying too much, and then figures out quickly what he can and can't say. But no, Burkhead, definitely a Patriots running back already with the way he's talking. Similar in speech, as well as, I guess, appearance to Danny Woodhead. Danny Woodhead never really said anything. Doesn't seem like Rex Burkhead will be a quote machine this year, but he could be a machine on offense for the Patriots. That was kind of a decent segue, maybe. I don't know. What do you think of him?
I mean, I like the way that he's going to fit in. I liked him when I know you were very high on him even before the signing. I like how he's going to fit in with Deion Lewis, James White. I know we've talked about running backs ad nauseum over these last couple weeks, and we both agree that they do need to bring in at least one more running back before the whole team gets situated before training camp. Yeah. But as they're situated right now, I think they're looking pretty good with that trio at the top, and then Brandon Bolden, maybe DJ Foster filling in whatever. This is a good place to start right now.
Yeah, when Burkhead was talking today, the number one question I kind of had coming into this availability was, why did he decide to sign with the Patriots? Was it because he felt like he would receive a bigger opportunity with the Patriots than some other teams? Is he kind of looking towards the future with this? He didn't really say much about this.
He stayed away from that. He said he liked the Patriots' multi-dimensional offense, which is what a lot of either free agents or draft prospects or anybody kind of says when they ask what they like about the Patriots. Just the way that they use their skill position players in so many different ways. That obviously fits into Rex Burkhead's skill set.
Yeah, and
it remains to be seen how he'll actually be used, whether he'll play on special teams at all. There are a lot of special teams questions.
Yeah.
I can't see him playing a ton on special teams if they're paying him so much to be a running back, but I guess we'll find that out.
And I guess it kind of depends on who else comes in. If they do bring in a Mike Gillislee type, or if they draft a guy highly, then maybe that guy earns a starting role over Burkhead in training camp, and then you can still use Burkhead on special teams. So, yeah, it all kind of depends on how all those things shake out. One other big thing, Patriots are going to the White House tomorrow. So, big question there.
Doug Kyed is also going to the White House tomorrow?
Yes, I am going to the White House. Well, probably. I think we're still at the probably point. White House, they could work on this credentialing system a little bit.
It would surprise you, but security is actually kind of tight at the White House.
Yeah.
Who would have known?
It's pretty, shocking. But I think I'm going. I don't know how many Patriots players will be there, and we'll just kind of have to wait and see. We'll probably have our roster out there, crossing off names from the 2016
just
Super
like
Bowl
training
team.
camp. Yeah.
Exactly. It's just like a practice or training camp, and I don't know. It will be interesting to see how many guys are there. Tom Brady reportedly will be there. 8 players reportedly won't be there, so I don't know. It's interesting, though, and I think that the Patriots are in kind of a unique position here where they can set the tone for these, because they are the first pro sports team, first championship sports team to visit the White House since Donald Trump's, since he took over as president. So this is the tone that's being set here, and if there is a big boycott, if only 10, 15 players actually show up, then this Patriots team is going to be remembered for a while, I think.
It's definitely going to be scrutinized a lot more closely now that Donald Trump is the president. But going back, I mean, it's not a given that every player is going to attend. There's been years in the past where they've only had 25, 26, 30 players. Basically, half the team will show up, the other half, usually not even for political reasons. They're just like, I got better stuff to do.
Been there, done that.
I better stuff. I mean, that's basically what Dante Hightower said a couple months ago when he was asked. He's like, dude, I already went. I went in college. Like, it's White House stuff is cool, but it's not really something you need to do multiple times. So I think there is going to be some overreaction based on who does not go. I don't think I'm sure there will be some who won't go for political reasons. Martellus Bennett, Devin McCourty have already spoken out about that. Chris Long. But there are going to be some guys who, like Alan Branch said, I just want to spend time with my family. I don't want to go to the White House. So it will be interesting to see who does show up and who doesn't. But I think people are definitely going to make a bigger deal out of it than should be made.
Definitely. But we will keep you abreast on all of that. We will keep you updated on which players are there, which players aren't there, what goes down at the White House, if there's any kind of controversy, on NESN.com, on videos, everything. We'll have you covered. That's basically what I'm trying to say. And we will be back with Between the Tackles on Thursday after the NFL schedule comes out. So lots to dissect there. So keep it on NESN.com for all things Patriots.